Hey there! Welcome to another Speedpaint Journal by St. Linthoria. Welcome to my mind. Normally, I am all about the mindset of people can change and become better, or just change in general, really, whether it's for good or bad. I'm all about people being able to change. My set default is to hope that people can change for the better. If I'm friends with you and you have terrible personality flaws, I'm going to point out those terrible personality flaws until either A, you fix them and you get your shit together, or B, they start negatively affecting me to the point where I no longer want to be your friend. But it usually takes a really long time for that last bit to happen. And it usually also takes me stepping back and not really talking to you very much for at least a week. Because, like, for the most part, I'm a ride or die type of friend. In most cases. Like, that's just kind of my mode operandus, or whatever, however that phrase is said. That's kind of just how I am in general. I'm ride or die, and the only thing that you can do to stop me from being ride or die is to consistently be rude to me and just evil and treat me like shit, you know, as well as like just me not being around for you very often so that I can realize that you're doing that, basically. But like, if I'm talking to you every day, I'm going to be making up reasons to be your friend because I like being friends. I like having friends, and I don't know, I just talk myself into forgiving you, basically. Low key. So yeah, typically I'm a ride or die person. And typically I'm a fairly forgiving and understanding person to complete strangers, and will legit like believe that you can change and things like that. And I will be that person that like defends other people or public figures or whatever that have changed, and be like, yeah, they've changed, and like we shouldn't be judging them on like their past behavior, all of that good stuff. But when you are a complete stranger to me, or at the very least just plain not my friend, and you do some effed up stuff to one of my friends or family members and physically or emotionally hurt them, I want you to die in a dumpster fire. Full stop. Like, I know that's not a godly thing to think, that's not a godly attitude to have, and I recognize that in myself as a flaw. And out of respect for God, I don't actually pray for people who are like this to die in a dumpster fire, and instead pray for patience. But yeah, there are certain people in this world that I want to die. I want to have die in a dumpster fire. That's just how it is. I mean, like, there's this one person that I used to be friends with, this one girl that I used to be friends with. Not friends with anymore because I realized that she was just being completely selfish and just always using me while also making fun of me. And she didn't really view me as an actual person. She just viewed me as a convenience, and I realize that now. And while we were friends, she was going out with this douchebag. And it was like a kind of sort of going out type of thing. Like, she would flip between saying that they were going out and saying, we're not really going out, that type of thing. After I stopped being friends with her, they like seriously went out, like were Facebook official and all that other jazz. But for as long as I knew her, I knew that her and him were kind of sort of a thing. And a few months after knowing her, I get this call from her where she's crying and talking about how he threw his cell phone at her and broke her cell phone, and how she's using like an old phone right now because he broke her cell phone because he got mad. I can't remember what it was they were arguing about at the time, but he essentially got angry and threw her cell phone and pushed her to the ground and scared her son, who was trying to make him stop, basically. And like, she's telling me all this stuff, and I was like, and I'm just like immediately like, that's abusive. Like, that's not good behavior. That is not a thing that you should be tolerating. You need to cut him out of your life, full stop. Like, my protective friend instincts immediately flared, and I wanted to punch this dude in the face. Like, from that point on, I knew her for almost a year after, and I hated this guy's guts the entire time. She went back to talking to him, or whatever she wanted to call it, or whatever. Talking about how, oh, well, he's never really done that before. He won't do that again, all this other stuff. But then, like, I mean, I wasn't down for it, you know? Especially since, like, even though she would say that, even though she would be like, oh, well, he never actually hits me or anything like that, he would talk down to her a lot, and she would talk about how he talked down to her. And I would sometimes witness him talking down to her. And, like, I just wasn't there for that. So, like, the entire time that I knew these two people, I just was... I didn't bother to hide the fact that I thought that he was a piece of trash. And that I hoped that he would burn. And just how much I hated his guts, basically. Which he did not appreciate at all. Like, at one point, he legit told her, tried to get her to tell me that I was being too dramatic with how I was treating him. Like, he tried to tell her that I was being rude to him because I would not do anything other than just say hi and politely smile all the while, and like just ignore his existence, you know what I mean? So I say all of that to just say that even now, even though I realize now what a toxic person she was to me, and I realize now that she viewed my existence as something so much less, that she took that concern, that protective feeling that I had for her, and turned it around as this narrative that I was somehow in love with her because I didn't want her to be with an abusive little dickwad, basically. Despite all that, I still want him to just perish in a dumpster fire. They're no longer together. She finally left him, and she was able to admit after leaving him that, yeah, he was very much abusive to her and everything. So she moved beyond that eventually. I still wanted him to die. I still want him to die in a dumpster fire. And I hope that he's not doing well in life whatsoever. And I hope that he is just rotting away. Like, seriously. I can't express enough how much I despise this dude. And he's not the only person that I know of that's like that, you know, like... Now, my other friend is just, like, they expressed that they don't really feel comfortable with me sharing the details, but they were in a pretty bad situation too, and that whole thing pisses me off, so... I hope he dies in a dumpster fire too. I really, truly do. I really hope that something terrible happens to them. I hope that it happens in a way that's super explosive and super painful for them, and that they, without, like, you know, actually hurting anyone else. Like, I hope that they drive their car off a lonely cliff somewhere and just burn to death. I really, truly do. Like, because I'm a ride or die friend, and when my protective instincts flare up, that means I then become a very violent-minded friend. That's just how I am. Now, I know what you're thinking. Lynn, is this really something appropriate to be putting up around the holidays? Probably not. I actually had something else planned, but my brain is stupid, and when I realized I had to do a re-upload for my Guns Still Suck video, it freaked the F out, and decided that I could not, in fact, put up 2 videos at the same time like I was originally planning, and so I had to wait. And this is the result. Now this is coming out on Christmas, and I'm probably not going to actually release my Christmas audio that I recorded. Which is fine, because I wasn't really satisfied with it anyway, so whatever, I guess. So the picture that I chose to go along with this, again, not Christmas themed because I actually recorded this quite some time ago, but my brain is dumb. Anyway, she is just essentially the image, persona, the character, let's go with that. The character that I tend to make up for stories whenever I fall asleep. I do this thing where I make up a story and I just use that to help me fall asleep. She is usually this is like modeled after the main character that I usually create for those stories. Usually they have long straight hair, generally speaking brown to black hair. Sometimes if they're really bubbly personality, like golden or white hair. And I've been really into this idea that they have jeweled eyes, so that's where that came from. She's also the most anime of anime girls I have ever drawn, and I feel really proud of that fact, because I generally struggle with making stuff pure anime instead of like twisting it to my own take, you know what I mean? So she was pretty fun to draw. And yeah, I hope that you guys just had a pretty good Christmas. My Christmas with my family is actually going to be happening this Saturday, tomorrow, because my brain will now allow me to go ahead and upload this video because it's not technically the same week. So you guys get a video around Christmas, not having anything to do with Christmas. Sorry about that, guys. I hope you guys have an amazing new year, though.